Free to all of us. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, order the booklet, Exercise and Physical Activity, by calling the number below. Have a wonderful time getting healthy.
Now I'm with Denise, who is the program manager here at the Wellness Centre. Denise, how do seniors take advantage of these amazing facilities? Because these machines really are state-of-the-art.
Well, we accept any senior who is above 50 and older, and there's 3 types of memberships. There's a regular membership, which is people who are 50 through 59, they pay $40. Then we have a senior membership, which is seniors who are 60 and older, they pay $20. And then we have the Wellness Club members who pay $10, and they have access to the gym, activities that we plan, and they have access to the computer classes.
Okay. And do they also have their health monitored during a period of time if they belong to the Wellness Club?
Yes, we have 2 fitness monitors. We have one in the morning from 9 to 1, and then another one from 3 to 7. We're always on site watching them.
So they can get advice about how to use the machinery, because that's really important that they're using the machinery in the correct way to get the most out of it. So they have somebody here who will help them come and get.
Yes, and they will show them how to use all the machines and make sure that they are comfortable using them by themselves.
Mm-hmm. And can they have a program for them, customized program?
Yes.
This is a really important program for seniors, both for their physical and cognitive health. Tell me, how can low-income seniors take advantage of the program?
We have financial assistance where seniors just need to provide the proper documentation, such as bank statements or proof of income or Medi-Cal cards, and they will get a reduced fee.
So it really is truly open to anybody in the local community in the Hollywood area?
Yes.
That's great. Denise, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. We're looking forward to learning more about the centre after the break.
Before approaching an intersection, so that's why 2 wrong turns don't make a right turn. Now let's learn about tailgating.
Hey, that's how I got my ticket.
You got a ticket for tailgating? That's not good.
That can be really annoying.
Doesn't get you there any faster.
It leaves you no distance to brake.
Which makes it easier to get into a crash.
And it also may increase your insurance premium.
And I hate tailgaters.
Tailgating causes crashes. Back off. Watch the road.
Remember, pets need to prepare for disasters too. Put together an emergency kit with water, a water bowl, food, and any medications they may need. Get the message. Be prepared.
We're here in the Wellness Centre with EJ Vasquez, who is a program assistant with Partners in Care. EJ, how did you get involved with this project?
You know, I've always wanted to work with seniors and helping them with wellness in their life, and being involved in the community, giving back, and all sorts of things like that that have really helped me to gain a lot of access into a different generation, you know, and being able to bring a lot of energy and enthusiasm and just love to the community. So
what is it that you have learned from working with Partners in Care that you're actually bringing to the centre here?
You know, I've learned a lot of that giving back to the community isn't about ourselves. It has nothing to do with you. All it is serving them, you know, giving them hope for the next day. A lot of the times the seniors, you know, are happy to just wake up and be able to come to the center and be able to say, you know, it was a great day because I did wake up and I'm here and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to have fun and exercise and do whatever activity we're doing for the day.
Is this the first time you've been involved in an environment like this wellness centre?
It is. It is actually my first time. So it's been a pretty great experience.
And what type of activities have you started, or will you be implementing in the next few weeks?
Actually, we are doing an evidence-based program for arthritis exercise classes. And we're going to be doing that as well as working with brain activities to stimulate their mind and get them just recharged for the day and being excited about life.
So it's physical and cognitive
Exactly,
activities.
yes.
Excellent. So now I understand you have done the brain game here today, so we'll take a look at that.
For sure.
I had a go at it and I scored badly. So maybe you can give me some tips on what I need to do to improve my cognitive awareness.
sure.
So let's have a look at the brain game.
And what I'm going to do is go ahead and call whoever's hand I see first, and I'm going to call on you, and you give me the answer. And then I want you, if you get it right, I want you to write a line on your paper, okay? Just a little tally mark so I know that you got a point. And at the very end, whoever gets the most points from the questions and activities that we do will win this awesome blue bag full of goodies. Yes, that's right. Okay? Passengers on an unthinkable luxury liner wine and dine and consider before disaster hits. It starred Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. I saw hers. Let me see the hand. Titanic. Is it? Yay! Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, now we're going to talk about the animal kingdom. All right, let's see here. When Dorothy landed in Oz, this pet was all she had from home.
Dog.
Dog. Let's see. Toto the dog. You got it. All right, go ahead and mark a tally. In dice, what are snake eyes?
1.
Let's see. 1 dot on each dice. Very nice, very nice. How many dwarfs did Snow White find in the woods? I saw 7 dwarfs. Let's see. Can you name them?
I know.
No. Can you name the dwarfs?
Oh, name the dwarfs?
Yeah.
Get extra credit?
Yeah. It'll be an extra point if you get it all.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's Smiley?
No. It's not. I'm sorry. No. I'll show you. All right. 7. Sneezy, dopey, dog, bashful, grumpy, sleepy, happy.
Happy.
All right. No. It's good though. No, because I could be smiley, but I could be miserable. Sightseeing. In what city or country would you see these sites? Okay, and I'm going to list the sites. The pyramids. I saw his again. Egypt. And we have Cairo or Egypt. Very good, very good. Remember not to call out the answer, else I can't call you. Okay, we're ready. Next question is the Great Wall.
China.
Oh, don't shout it out, but I saw your hand. Okay, superstitions. Rubbing a rabbit's foot will bring you what?
Luck.
Luck. Good luck. Very good, very good. Go ahead and mark a point. So I want everybody to take a couple seconds, memorize these shapes. Okay? Can everybody see it? Everybody sees the shapes?
Triangle.
Triangle. You got a triangle, and what else do you have there? Square. A square. Okay, memorize it. I'm going to change it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Change. So we're going to come back to that later. Let me see. You will need a pen and pencil for this game, so everybody has one, right? Okay. And let's go ahead and start. Go ahead and look at these words. And, I want you to go ahead and look at these words right now. And just try to memorize all the words that you can see. Okay, just go ahead and take a couple seconds to look at those words. All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and okay. Now write down as many of the words you can remember. Ready, and begin. Go ahead and start writing. Go ahead and start writing the words that you can remember. That's awesome. You're the winner.
You win.
You are a winner of this awesome blue bag full of great goodness. Yes. No, you had more than her. Well, just take the prize. You're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. All right. It's okay. 11. She counted 11. You still had more. Yeah. All right. Woo! Okay. Great job, everybody. And that is our activity for today.
That was really fun. As you can see, I scored badly. Now, what exactly do the seniors get from activities such as this? Because obviously they're to stimulate cognitive awareness. What is it that you can measure from these games?
Yeah, exactly. They come in here, at first they're not really sure of what it is that we're doing. I explain it to them. It's great for them to, again, cognitively being able to take instruction, be with other seniors, be able to play a game, do activities that stimulate their mind as well as their social life. They come in here and we explain the game to them. And a lot of the times, at first, they'll be a little hesitant to the game, but as you see throughout the time, they're open, they're loud, they're lively, they're shouting out answers. I'm like, wait, you know, I have to explain to them how it actually is going to go. But it's great for them overall. The things that we discuss will be, you know, big movies, and they know it. They memorize it. You know, they remember from the past the different things we're doing with words, and it's very stimulating to them. Being able to come and even just an activity like a brain game to get their minds going. So
with games like this, as they progress over the course of weeks, I guess Wellness Club members can actually be assessed at the start and maybe further down the program to see, you know, how they are doing in terms of cognition.
Exactly. Totally used as a gauge to see where they're at. You know, and over time you will see improvement with them because, as you know, repetition is huge. You know, especially with the seniors. So
that's really great. Thank you for that. We'll be right back with more activities from the Wellness Centre.
As individuals sign up, we will have them take a fitness test. Some of the baseline testing was being done today: flexibility, strength, balance. We'll also do blood pressure. We'll do body fat readings, and then at 3, 6, and 9 month intervals, we will go back and retest to see how well they are doing, probably highlighting some of the fitness center, wellness center members of the month, and monitoring their progress so that they can be able to see how beneficial the program is to them.
I'm here with Barbara Linsky, the Executive Director of Hollywood Multipurpose Senior Centre, and she's going to tell us how this great new Wellness Centre got off the ground. Barbara.
Thank you. A couple of years ago, unfortunately, the state of California decided not to sponsor the Alzheimer's daycare resource centers. And as a result, we were left with some very valuable space. We got into some discussions with Partners in Care Foundation and the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging, and they came up with the suggestion that we try a pilot project. And it's always been my dream to have a fitness center here at the Assistance League's Hollywood Senior Center. So with the help of the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging and Partners in Care Foundation, we were able to develop this pilot program called our Wellness Center. And so today is the day we're having the open house and a mini health fair to introduce the Wellness Center to the seniors in our Hollywood community. We have life fitness exercise equipment, but we're also offering the Senior Wellness Club, where active older adults can participate in socially engaging activities and evidence-based programs, and also use the fitness equipment to advance their healthy lifestyles.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I've been looking today and talking with some of the seniors, and obviously they're very excited to see this really new concept in senior centre programming.
The federal government is looking to support more preventive kind of programs that will help keep seniors healthier and in their own homes for as long as possible. So we're endeavoring to do that and to provide more preventative kind of programs similar to A Matter of Balance, chronic disease self-management, which are some of the programs offered by Partners in Care. We're also looking to encourage more of the baby boomers to get started earlier. So we're looking to have a membership category for 50 to 59-year-olds, so that 60 is the new 40 kind of concept, and encourage those folks to get started earlier, as well as accommodating some of the older adults, the 60, the 70, and 85 and up category.
Yeah, I've been, looking around today, and I was really impressed. I just really can't believe the quality of the facilities here and what's on offer. And I really think I'm going to come and join up. Seriously,
Here.
I'm going to come.
I have a paper. We can sign you right up right now.
Absolutely. I really think I'm going to encourage other people I work with. We're just down the road here. What a great place to come. And interact with seniors as well. We can come and do that. Enjoy the companionship of the seniors. Get some exercise. Do some of the cognitive games, this type of thing, and just really be involved in another aspect of this community. So it's a very exciting time, I think, for even us younger baby boomers.
We're trying to do more socially engaging activities to encourage individuals to come in rather than staying home and sitting alone by themselves, but to participate and to enter here to find and be a friend, to share experiences together. And we also have a computer lab right next door where people will be able to get on the internet, and we have computer classes so that they can be more aware of what's out there in the area of technology, in the field of technology. We did some research before we started, and we visited a number of senior centers in Los Angeles County, and we found that the facilities were packed. And so that said to us, there is a need for this kind of programming, and if we build it, they will come. And that was clearly evidenced today. I think we had about 100 people coming to our health fair and open house and trying out the equipment and getting ready to sign up to be a part of the Senior Wellness Center.
I think what's encouraging too, everybody was so excited about it, but it seems whatever their level of income, whether they can afford to pay the full membership or not, they can actually come and take part and use these facilities at a sliding scale rate. So it's just encouraging that it is inclusive of everybody in the community.
Yes.
That's so great.
We have the great, wonderful support of the Assistance League of Southern California members. This is the founding chapter for Assistance League, and they're very committed to offering these kinds of programs to the low-income individuals in the community. So we have developed a financial assistance program where they will help raise some funds to assist low-income individuals so that everybody will have an opportunity to participate in the Wellness Center, regardless of income.
As always, Barbara, it's a pleasure to be here at Hollywood Centre, always at the forefront of programming. We always know, whatever's newest in the game, then it's going to be happening here at Hollywood. Great friend of the programme. We always appreciate your participation. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for coming and highlighting our Senior Wellness Center.
Thank you.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
時には計画通りにいかないこともあります。でも投票するときは違います。選挙日にインカボートプラスを使って投票すれば空白の投票用紙を投函してしまったり、1回の投票で投票が許可されている人数を超えて投票してしまうことはありません。確実に正確な投票用紙を提出できます。物事が計画通りに進むと気持ちがいいものです。
Hi, I'm Craig Irwin in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Trenton Irwin, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel.
could the sergeants please call the other members? Members, it's 10 o'clock. Please report to the council chambers. Mr. Labange, are you ready? Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Hall. My name is Herb Wesson. I'm the president of the Los Angeles City Council. The council meets on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All of our meetings are open to the public, and I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you for coming and you're welcome. On Friday, we do presentations, so we're going to start the presentations today with the great council person from the 4th District, the Assistant President Pro Tem, Tom Labange.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Hanyo Seo. Okay, this is Korean American Day in Los Angeles, which is absolutely so special. For over 100 years, over a century, the immigration of Koreans to California has been magnificent. And in the last years, much with your leadership, Mr. Wesson, and those who went before us, Mr. Ferraro, Mr. Holden, Mr. Bradley, the Korean American community has risen to take part in the great dream of Los Angeles. So let's give the Korean American community a big hand right now. Okay. And now I would like to call on the president of the Korean American Foundation, Dr. Sang-Won Park, for a few remarks.
My honor to be, to speak the first, that, like this program, I'm the last, but thank you so much.
That's okay.
Okay.
He who is last is first.
And yes, what a so beautiful day, and a happy New Year, and happy Korean American Day. Special thanks for President Herb Wesson and Council Member Mr. Tom Labange. My Korean pioneers, Korean American ancestors asked us around 100 years ago, do you love your country? Do you love America? Do you love Korea? And first, be a good person. Be a good people. And my ancestors, Korean pioneers, taught us, Korean Americans. So we, Korean Americans, want to be a good people in America. So every year, Los Angeles Council proclaimed the Korean American Day around January 13th of each year. This ceremony, not only for the Korean Americans, also all of Americans. Of this proclamation ceremony, all of Americans want to be a good Americans. So today, special thanks for Los Angeles Council member and Los Angeles Council President, Mr. Herb Wesson Jr. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A great familiar face in Los Angeles and in the Korean community is the Reverend Woo Chung, Chairman of the Korean American Foundation, and I want to ask you for some great remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. Welcome to the celebration of Korean American Day, proclaimed by our Congress. Every January 13th is designated as a Korean American Day. We now celebrate the Korean American Day around this time of the year. The Korean American Foundation was instrumental in the proclamation of Korean American Day. As many of you know, the first Koreans settled in Hawaii in 1903, working at the sugar plantation in Hawaii. Our history in America is over 100 years old. To us, Koreans celebrating the Korean American Day is like celebrating Thanksgiving Day in USA. We appreciate America for welcoming us. We appreciate America for the opportunity to live in this country. We appreciate America for making us the citizens of this country so that we are included and not excluded. We appreciate America for the equal opportunity to succeed. Thank you, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you very much, Reverend. I appreciate that greatly, Reverend. And I want to be joined by Mr. Garcetti as we introduce the Council General. Los Angeles, next to New York City and Hong Kong, is the most consulates, well respected. And I believe, if I'm right, Council General, the highest population of Koreans outside of Korea is in Los Angeles. So it's very special at this time, representing all of Korea. Please welcome Council General of Los Angeles for the Korean people, Young Sung Sin.
Before say anything, thank you, Chair and City Council members, for your patience. Morning, friends, Angelinos. A very happy Korean American Day to you all. Thank you, LA City Council, for inviting myself and my colleagues to your chambers to celebrate this 9th anniversary of Korean American Day. An Chang-ho, which is quite a familiar name to you also, I believe, the wonderful Korean patriot and one of the original Korean Americans, said, "Even if you pick just one orange, do it with a patriotic attitude." With this praise, Dosan An Chang-ho inspired his peers and the next generations to take pride in everything they do, to always be patriotic, and always work towards the greater good. Since January 13, 1903, when Koreans first stepped foot on American soil, they and their descendants have followed his advice. I quote, "Toiling endlessly, but proudly." Now the Korean American community has firmly established itself and has achieved the American dream in this beautiful land of opportunity. Here in Los Angeles, the Korean American community has added so much to the pulsating diversity of the city. In fact, Korean Americans in LA have been the most active and, as my colleague Tam Lavonji said, numerous of all Korean diaspora in the world. They have overcome the hardship, I have to emphasize, from the LA civic unrest in 1992, 20 years ago, and indeed are the most exemplary Korean community in the United States. As a result of Korean Americans' hard work and their dedication to being a productive citizens in this country, the United States Congress designates this day, the January the 13th, as Korean American Day, officially recognizing the Korean American community's dynamic contribution to the state. Without a doubt, Korean Americans are an integral part of the political, social, economic, and the cultural fabric of American society. The continuous development of a Korean American community and the promotion of friendly relations between our two countries will be an important theme of the year, this year, 2012. Between the very first ever Korean overseas elections and the American presidential election at the far end of the year of the dragon will be certainly be exciting. Of course, I cannot fail to mention that the Korean Peninsula has received an extraordinary amount of attention since the passing of Mr. Kim Jong-il, the leader of North Korea. We know the world is watching closely to see how events will unfold. It is also very likely that the implementation of the landmark free trade agreement between the United States and Korea will usher us into an era of an even stronger multilateral U.S.-Korea alliance. Taking this opportunity, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to each and every one of you for your long-time support and the enthusiasm for the KORUS Free Trade Agreement. It is very hard to imagine the ratification of KORUS without the fervent support and grassroots efforts of the Korean Americans, especially Korean American Angelenos. The city of LA and its thriving business community also deserve credit for the passage and approval of the agreement. You were some of the earliest supporters, and we will not forget that. Naturally, we have our work cut out for us. After all, I wanted to ensure that you all reap the fruit of your efforts. The Korean government truly values the support and friendship of the Korean American community here in Los Angeles. We ask for your continued cooperation and friendship as we expand our bilateral alliance between the United States and Korea in 2012. Here is to 109 years of toiling endlessly, but with pride. I thank you very much, Angelenos.
Certainly, thank you. It's hard to believe it's 109 years, because I remember the great parade in Pasadena when you celebrated the centennial of that.
I enjoyed the privilege.
Mr. 2003. Yes. Mr. Garcetti, if you could say a few words as we share much of the air along with Mr. Wesson.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
And Dr. Park and Reverend Chung, and thank you so much to our council president and also to Mr. Labange for their great work in putting this together, and Consul General Shin, what a beautiful speech. 109 years ago, Koreans came to Hawaii to work in the sugar fields, and it's a very sweet date to remember. It is an incredible moment in which we saw the beginning of a friendship of two nations, which is as strong as any alliance anywhere in the world. It is as powerful as any group of immigrants that have come to this place. And here in Los Angeles, we had quite a year to celebrate. When you think about it, we had in the Hollywood Christmas Parade our first Korean drummers and dancers, which lined up being able to do that in the Rose Parade in the future years. We see also, as you mentioned, a moment that we have to mark that's coming up of 20 years since the unrest, since the riots, in which we recognize that people bravely took back to the streets and said, we will not be pushed down. And indeed, when you could have taken a moment of pain, you created something beautiful of it. And when you look in our industries, whether it's our apparel industry, whether it's in our real estate industry, whether it's in our banking industry, often the contributions of Korean Americans go very undersold here, very modestly expressed. When we have, I think it's 7 out of the top banks now based in Los Angeles are Korean banks. When we look at the new entrepreneurial spirit that you put before us, we are very proud of what has been accomplished. It is a celebration for all Angelenos, not just Korean Americans, but for all Angelenos to embrace our common heritage side by side with our Korean brothers and sisters. So congratulations.
Thank you. We're going to hear
Mr. Labange?
Yes, Mr. Wesson.
We've got some speakers in the queue, but before we do that, I'd like to bring up the Korean Women's Choir as a special treat.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Wesson. Here we go.
Please come forward.
Thank you. From the heart always. Oh, thank you. Absolutely. You both did as well.
Thanks, Korean dress.
It's beautiful. Pretty. Every color is different. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, that's great. It's beautiful.
All right, let's welcome the Korean Women's Choir.
이건 이제 받을 쪽에 이제 필요해요.
아리랑
시간이 없습니다.
Mr. Wesson, your great deputy, Trudy Abraham, presents these beautiful roses. We salute Korean American Day in Los Angeles. Give them a bigger hand right now for that. Along with all the members of the council, and a special shout out to Busan, our sister city. A special shout out to these young people who came all the way from Korea as part of a special program. We welcome you. This is Korean American Day in Los Angeles. Kamsahamnida.
Mr. Labange, Mr. Reyes would like to say something at this point in time. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank this lovely choir. So another round of applause for this great, great songs that we've shared with us. Thank you so much. You know, the immigrant experience is very special. It's very special because we get to introduce such beautiful music, food, traditions from all over the world, and it comes together here in Los Angeles. I want to thank the Korean American community because everywhere you've gone, you've made a positive change and difference. And I can go through all the lists of churches that have come to our great city. Young Knight Church comes to mind and how they've made a profound difference. You've had organizations cleaning the LA River. But just as important are the folks who have come and shared their traditions, but also their technology, the engineering. Colleagues, this is a country in the city of Seoul where they have an amazing river called the Chungkinchang. And I apologize, I mispronounced it. But this is a river that was under a freeway. And when the span of a few years, they took out the freeway. It's like taking the 10 freeway out of Los Angeles because there's a river underneath. And they brought daylight to this river. They brought it to the surface and they built parks, commerce, business, recreation, and they reintroduced a whole new environment and gave this wonderful city an amazing facelift and how it can look better and brighter and environmentally friendly. It was about the future. And we've had your engineers come to the city. You shared that with us. So these are the talents. This is the knowledge. This is the celebration you're bringing to this great city. And I thank you for that. In Lincoln Heights, in parts of Northeast Los Angeles, we're having classes for children, art, sports. There's a sharing that is essentially amazing. So I want to thank the Korean American community for their work in the city, what they give to this great country, but more importantly, how we can enhance our future because of this sharing. And I thank you for being here, and I want to make sure I say this right. Annyeonghaseyo. Thank you very much.
Ms. Perry.
Mr. President, and to Consul General and all of the illustrious members of the community who've come out here today. It was a joy to be able to see you last night at the celebration at the home of the Consul General, and it will be an even greater joy this evening to celebrate the spirit of volunteerism at the Korean Cultural Center. I am also a beneficiary of the great enthusiasm, the great participation and civic engagement of the Korean community here in the 9th Council District, particularly in the area of the garment and textile industry. Without the Korean American community, the industry would not continue to thrive and to grow and to expand. And I can tell you, it's almost on a weekly basis that a new business comes up. Somebody opens up some new operation, some new activity to put people back to work and to keep people employed. And so here in the city of Los Angeles, we owe the Korean community a great debt of gratitude for its willingness to grow together as one city, one family. So thank you very much, and I think that we are the ones who are blessed.
Thank you. Mr. Labange, there is a lot that I could say. This is a very important day for our city and our community to see my good friends here in the Council General, but for everything that you have done for the city of Los Angeles and the United States of America, I'd like to say, Taedanhi Kamsamnida.
Thank you. Mr. President, we say the same to you, brother. Taedanhi Kamsamnida for what you've done in helping make this a better city. From the Korean community perspective, say Kamsamnida, everybody.
Kamsamnida.
Kamsamnida. Kamsamnida.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Okay, Madam Clerk, I believe we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
Okay, this council meeting is now in session. We will return to our presentations, but at this point in time, I think we should go through the agenda. So why don't we start by calling the roll?
Alarcon, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Prairie, Reyes, Rosendahl, Weston, Zine, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
All righty then. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Koretz moves, Weezer seconds. Next.
Community resolutions for approval.
Krikorian moves, Garcetti seconds.
Mr. President, there are several requests for continuances. There's a request to continue item 1 to February 1st. Continue item 2 to January 27th.
Wait,
and to
1 second. The item 1 continue to when?
February 1st.
Right.
Continue item 2 to January 27th.
Yes.
And continue item 3 to February 14th.
Without objection. Yes, Mr. Krikorian.
Continuance on item 1, if we can make that until February 7th, please.
February 7th on item 1 for Mr. Krikorian. Any cards?
No cards.
Okay, then let's vote on the remaining item, I believe it is. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, next item.
And just for the record, Mr. President, that remaining item was a public convenience of necessity item in Council District 5.
Okay.
Items 5 and 6 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Any cards?
No cards.
No card. Members specials? Seeing and hearing none, why don't we open and close the public hearing on the remaining balance, and at this time let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next.
Items 7 through 10 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, we'll consider those items. Members, Mr. Weezer.
Mr. President, item number 8 continued for 1 week, please.
That'll be till January 20th.
Yes, thank you.
Without objection. Mr. Zine.
Mr. President, 5 and 6 forthwith, please.
Okay, 5 and 6 forthwith. We got to vote on them first. No, I'm just messing with you on television. Okay. I've got Michael whispering in my ear. Anyway, so why don't we open the roll?
Excuse me, Mr. President, there are cards on items 9 and 10.
Oh, cards on 9 and 10? Okay. Cards. So let's open the roll on, is it only item 7 then?
Yes.
Okay, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next.
Mr. President, at this time, do you wish to recess the regular meeting and convene the special meeting?
You know what, we will do that, and item 11 will be the first item that we take up when we finish our presentations. In fact, it's my understanding that we can take up item 11 now.
Excuse me,
Perry?
Mr. President, we should call the roll first.
Okay.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Carres, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zine, Wesson, Timmer is present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ms. Perry.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a very serious situation. This case is located at 443 West 49th Street and was brought to our attention in December of last year. It is one of the most extreme cases of illegal construction that I have ever witnessed. The owner added over 40 units of substandard housing to a 3-unit building. The certificate of occupancy for 3 units in no way represents what is happening at this site. The 40 units and conditions people were living in were bizarre, or are bizarre, including dormitory-like conditions. The owner went on to add an unpermitted 3rd story, compromising the building's safety, and that resulted in the housing department's 30-day order to vacate on December the 13th. Many of the tenants have been working with the Inner City Law Center. The city has informed the owner of his relocation obligations for the tenants, and he is clearly not prepared to meet those obligations. So it was important to me that the tenants receive their relocation benefits so they can find safe and stable housing for themselves and for their families. Now, in these cases, the city steps in to pay these benefits and recovers them, the costs, from the property owners through liens. The city has a revolving fund for this purpose when tenants are displaced due to things like this, substandard living conditions, fires, or other acts of emergency. The city certifies their tenancy in advance of their receiving benefits. The property owner on West 49th Street was using the administrative time allowed under the current policy to continue to build illegally, and this will no longer be allowed. And I'm glad on Tuesday we passed the motion that the city attorney draft the ordinance mirroring the county's Clean Hands ordinance, which does not allow new permits to be issued if a property owner has not remediated building code violations. I believe this ordinance will help avoid situations like this in the future, and I hope to have your aye vote. And if this motion passes today, I would like for this motion to go forthwith.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. We have one card. Mr. Arnold Sachs. Good morning, Mr. Sachs.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. Arnold Sachs. Just a couple of questions quickly and maybe a little clarification because the Honorable Jan Perry mentioned this came before the council in the December of last year. So that would be this past December of 2011 or the December of 2010, because the city to act so quickly without having an emergency motion just doesn't seem right. And a 30-day notice to occur on December 13, 2011, and they're still continuing to build. But nevertheless, were there any citations issued to the building owner because of this violations of the city code? And just to point out that whatever is going to be charged, this $322,000, I'd like to point out that in September 16th of last year, 2011, on item number 28 in the closed session, in the council file was 111552. The city council agreed in the settlement regarding transit occupancy tax that this business, Plaza Motor Hotel, owed $430,000, and the city council settled for $180,000. So this bill says that they're going to charge them $322,000. What are you going to settle for? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. On this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, let's adjourn this special meeting and we'll return to the regular meeting. The next presentation will be Council District 10 and Council District 13, Mr. Garcetti and myself.
Okay.
Mr. Reyes, can you take the count?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Weston. Thank you, Mr. Weston. Thanks, Ray.
Mr. Kretz is going to do this.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, go. Let's do it.
Okay, so we have Councilmember Wesson and Councilmember Garcetti conducting a duet.
No, we've got a trio. We've got
Councilmember Koretz. Okay.
Councilmember Koretz.
A trio.
You know, this is my favorite Friday when we bring a companion animal from one of our shelters to the council chambers to try to find them a home. Up to this point, we have a 100% success rate, and I have before you today a 2.5-old Silky Terrier mix named Evan. He's got his shots. He's ready to go. He comes from a shelter in my district. This is as big. Look at the camera, little fella. This is as big as he's going to get. He has an awful lot of personality. I'm going to ask Mr. Koretz to hold him for a little while. And you can turn around and show him to the crowd, see if we can get some takers. Anyway, if you're interested, please call the number on the screen and inquire about this Evan. We will leave Evan here in the back for a while, so if you're in the building or in the chambers and you'd like to adopt him, please come down in the back and give him a home. Again, you want unconditional love, you will definitely get it from Evan. I know Mr. Garcetti had made a request today that people bring in pets, and it looks like we do have a couple of. Why don't you let's show off what we have? Come on, come on. I think I remember this. I think I remember this young animal here. This is Penny, who was adopted by you not too long ago. A lot of our pets are adopted by staff, employees, and council members. But Evan, where's Evan? Eric?
No, this is Chili.
Chili, that's Mr. Garcetti has Chili, and Mr. Koretz has Evan. So Evan is the one that we're trying to come up, Paul. Evan is the one that we're trying to find a home for. They also wanted me to mention that we're going to have a dog vaccine clinic where you can get discounted spay and neuter services on Saturday, January 28th, February 11th, February 25th, March 10th at the Dinker Recreation Center located at 1515 West 35th Place. So please bring your dogs down, help them get whatever shots they need. They can get spayed and neutered. And we're looking for a home for Evan. If you don't come down and get Evan, then Mr. Koretz is going to have to take him home. And I don't know if his wife would allow that. But anyway, he's looking for a home, or his cats, he indicated. And what I'd like to do is just segue into what Mr. Garcetti is doing today. And I thought it was appropriate that we would just kind of piggyback on one another. But Mr. Garcetti, I think you have to introduce Chili, though. You've got to bring Chili up.
All right.
You got to give him his... He's ready for his close-up, Mr. DeMille.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And it's great to be here with you and Mr. Koretz. Both of you have an extraordinary adoption rate. And this is a special day in the city where folks have been encouraged to bring their animal companions here. Many of you know Eduardo Serrano Hewitt, who is my district director and who has worked for Council Members Cardenas and Council Districts 8 and 10 and other council districts as well. And this is his little companion, Chili. But we are here today to celebrate as council coming together week after week, searching for the caring and loving homes that many of the animal companions we see here that are housed by our own animal services. And not only many times, but I think every single time we have been successful in placing pets in loving homes. But there are a lot of animals who need you and who need your help. Once a pet is placed, though, in a loving home, we often think we don't need to take any other necessary precautions to ensure the safety of our animals. If our friend goes missing or escapes from his or her home, though, they may never find their way back home without the help of a pet license. So today we come together to join forces with an extraordinary organization Mr. Koretz has worked closely with. I think probably all of us has, one of the best animal organizations in the country, Found Animals, who is partnering with LA Animal Services to launch a new pet licensing promotion. Today, less than a third of the 350,000 to 500,000 dogs in the city of Los Angeles are currently licensed. However, licensing our pets has many benefits for dog owners, for the animals themselves, and the community at large. A current license helps Animal Services quickly reunite lost pets with their owners and generates much-needed funds to support subsidized spay-neuter programs, something I know about because when I served on the Budget Committee and we had the license fees increase, I ensured that that money goes right back into spaying and neutering, both of which help reducing intake and euthanasia in city shelters. Today, literally, licensing you can save a life. We know that registering or licensing your pet once you have taken him or her home is not always at the forefront of our minds. And for this reason, the new campaign focuses on making this convenient and easy. We had a discussion about a year ago when we had CORE, our Commission on Revenue Enhancement, about that it was quite difficult for folks to get a license. And Animal Services stepped up. They have a new online services that allows dog owners residing in Los Angeles to purchase or renew their license online from the comfort of their own home or office and bypass a trip to the local animal care center or to the post office. In addition, amnesty from late fees and penalties related to licenses is being offered through March 31st. Let me say that again. You have amnesty until March 31st, so take advantage of it. A one-year license for an altered dog costs just $20, and a generous $7 of that is earmarked to help fund the low-income spay and neuter program for our fellow residents across the city. And if we're successful in doubling the number of licenses sold, we would be able to raise an additional $680,000 for spay-neuter funds each year, enough for 10,000 surgeries for a pet in a low-income family. This would help the city place hundreds of pets in more loving homes, decrease the stray animal population by thousands, and save 10,000 lives. But we need your help in getting the word out and licensing your pet. So please visit, here it is, lapetlicenses.com for more information on pet licensing and how to identify your agency information, including prices, forms, and web links. Now I'd like to ask Mr. Kretz to say a couple words, and then we will hear from Found Animals.
Well, thank you, Mr. Garcetti. And as you know, humane causes are near and dear to my heart, and I try to adopt a cat on Feline Fridays, and Mr. Wesson tries to adopt dogs and always succeeds on Adopt a Pet Fridays. Today I want to join Councilmember Wesson and Councilmember Garcetti in praising Found Animals Foundation for their efforts in assisting the Department of Animal Services in launching this new pet licensing program. A special thanks to founder Dr. Gary Michelson, Executive Director Amy Galbraith for their hard work and dedication. A current license helps reunite lost pets with their owners. And in the course of their life, about a third of LA pets will get out at least once. I used to have a wonderful dog, and he was an indoor dog, but he got out once. He went a couple blocks away. Fortunately, our mail carrier recognized him, which is not the usual dog and mail carrier relationship. If that hadn't happened, we would have relied on his licensing tag. Otherwise, we never would have seen him again. And that often happens. There's so many lost animals that wind up in our shelters and aren't returned because they're not licensed. So that's critical, and the funding as well will allow so many spays and neuters for low-income folks and avoid so many euthanasias. It'll help us move towards the humane, no-kill city that we all want us to be. So I commend Found Animals for their great work, and thank you for this terrific program.
And adopted dog. Yes.
And don't forget Evan. This is the sweetest dog I've seen. Hopefully my cats won't be surprised with him unless somebody else has to take him. But.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kretz. And with that, I would like to now bring up Amy Gilbreth, who is the Extraordinary Executive Director of Found Animals. We want to present, I think there's been a little bit of dog juice that might have come onto the certificate, but that makes it even that much more special. So we'll get that cleaned up. But here, we do have a certificate that I'll just kind of, yeah. I won't even ask Mr. Kretz what his suit looks like right now. But that's part of the love of having an animal. So, Amy, if you come forward, we want to present this certificate of appreciation for your extraordinary leadership to Found Animals with gratitude, of your committed service to ensure all animals are placed to stay in safe, loving homes. Your dedication is felt by hundreds each and every day throughout the city. Congratulations. A round of applause for Found Animals.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure.
That's all yours. Okay. I think I take your speech.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
So thank you very much. It is an honor and a pleasure to be able to speak to you today, and we're very grateful to Councilmember Garcetti for the invitation. If Councilmember Rosendahl were here, I would remind him that I first started talking to him about pet licensing in the city of Los Angeles almost 4 years ago. So we're very excited to finally be here today with a new program for you. So I have a presentation that hopefully will pop up for you so that I can tell you more about why we're here.
Let's go.
Maybe?
Okay, we do have
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is tell you just a little bit more about Found Animals and what we do for pets in the Los Angeles area, and then give you details about this new dog licensing promotion. So we are a private operating foundation. That's a picture of our homepage up there, and if you could read it, you would see that we're featuring licensing on our homepage right now. As was mentioned, we are funded by Dr. Gary Michelson, and our mission is to reduce the number of pets euthanized in shelters all over the Los Angeles area. Some of the ways that we do this, just to give you some examples, is we had over 4,000 shelter adoptions via our various programs in 2011, including a Christmas adoption event called Whisker Wonderland that some of you may have heard about. We also donated over 50,000 microchips to area shelters and nonprofits last year. We manage 2 other nonprofits that provide low-cost and free spay and neuter services. One of those, which is called the Spay Neuter Project of Los Angeles, has 2 of its 3 locations within city shelters at the Harbor location and the Van Nuys location. We also fund research into non-surgical sterilization products for pets. I like to joke about doggy Depo-Provera or kitty Norplant. That would make our jobs much easier. And we partnered with Councilmember Koretz to do a humane education and art contest with the LA's Best After School program. It reached over 28,000 kids. And if you can see the pictures up there, they do amazing art. I was so impressed. The picture on the left is from the kindergarten to 2nd grade category, and the one on the right is from 3rd and 4th graders. So amazing to be able to work with kids to be the next generation of humane leaders. So you may wonder why we care about pet licensing. The 2 council members did a great job of talking about this. Los Angeles is unusual in that it has this great policy structure where money from licenses goes to fund low-cost spay and neuter. And unfortunately, licensing compliance is just lower than we'd like to see it. And this is one of those rare programs where you really can say it benefits everyone. Having a current license benefits the pet, it benefits the owner, it benefits the Department of Animal Services in being able to send home more lost pets and provide more low-cost surgeries, and both of those things lower the euthanasia rates at our city shelters and save the city money in handling animals. So it really is a win-win-win for everyone, and as was mentioned, if we could double the number of licenses sold, that would be almost $700,000 more spay and neuter funding each year. Licenses are renewed each year, so this is almost an annuity funding stream every year. It's a really great policy structure, and we'd like to see it maximized. So why now? Again, as was mentioned, first-time online licensing is now available thanks to the omnibus package that you all passed towards the end of last year, which updated codes that in some cases have been around since the 1950s and 60s. And there's an amnesty period. So until March 31st, no late fees and penalties, but starting April 1st, pet owners who've gotten a little bit behind are going to owe fees and penalties. And that is actually the page from the city website for Animal Services where you can license your pet online. As all of you may know, unfortunately, Animal Services does not have a public information officer or a marketing department or a marketing budget. So Found Animals has stepped in, and we are sponsoring and funding an outreach campaign. On the left, you can see an example of some of the materials we've developed. Thanks to a program the city already had, where a portion of bus benches and shelters are held for PSAs. These are going up all over the city. We've also purchased some radio airtime and a few other ads, and we're working in the communities. We're going to reach out to all of your neighborhood councils, and you'll see in a minute I'd like your suggestions of other ways to get out the word in your neighborhood, as well as doing media outreach and trying to spread the word. Great. This is another example of some of the collateral that we've created, and this is where we could use the help of all the council members and your staff. You know your district better than we do, and so we want your recommendations on how we could spread the word to your constituents, be that newsletters and websites or particular community groups in your area or hyper-local print media and blogs. We'll do the legwork if you point us in the right direction, so please give us your suggestions. And then we're also open to any other ideas you may have. If you know folks who would donate remnant ad space, if you have other outreach suggestions, we would love to hear those. And then finally, I've got a picture of one of the first bus shelters to go up in the wild. I believe this is actually in Councilmember Garcetti's district at San Fernando and the 2, but you'll start seeing these all over the city in the next few weeks. And we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Let's give a round of applause again to Found Animals. Let's get those dogs licensed. You got your amnesty until March 31st. Thank you very much.
We actually brought treats for all of you who have pets. Even if you didn't bring your pets today, we've got some little goodie bags for your dogs. And we have packets with lots more information if you need it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Mr. Weezer, for the next presentation. Oh, I didn't see your name. Wait 1 second, if you would, Mr. Garcetti.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Miss Perry.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to, where's the lady who was speaking right there? I did want to make a suggestion to you because it's working very well for us in the 9th District at 4301 South Central Avenue.
Yes.
And that is the mobile spay and neuter clinic combined with the weekly farmers market, Zumba classes, and cooking classes. So you can bring your dog or your cat, get spayed and neutered, and they go in and get their procedure while you can exercise, learn how to cook, and shop for food. So it's become a real community rallying point and a positive, fun experience. And I have actually been inside the clinic as the dogs are in post-op, or dogs and cats in post-op, and they're in very good hands. It is an extremely clean facility, and so that's located at 4301 South Central Avenue, and anyone is welcome. And it's Thursdays from 12 noon until 4 or 5 p.m.
Actually, the mobile spay and neuter unit, Councilmember Perry has been a wonderful host. We've been operating out of her district office a day or two a week for the last year. And now we're lucky enough to have a couple of days a month in Councilmember Wesson's district, and we are looking to expand to Councilmember Park's district, and we're doing an event with Councilmember Alarcon. So yes, if you have a need for a low-cost spay and neuter, we are happy to help, and we will pass out licensing information to all those folks.
Thank you.
All righty then. Thank you so very much. Mr. Weezer.
Good morning, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to be here today to honor a fantastic organization in the area of Skid Row, downtown Los Angeles, which is helping to transform the lives of countless individuals that otherwise would be trapped in a cycle of homelessness. I am talking about none other than the Weingart Center Association, which serves over 6,000 homeless people and provides 253,000 meals annually. I'm honored to have my good friend and former state senator Kevin Murray here, who is the CEO of the Weingart Center. Let's give him a big round of applause. And I just want to say that as a council member for the 14th District, which includes parts of downtown, I am proud to have the Weingart Center in my district. I want to thank the staff of the Weingart Center and its board of directors for the magnificent work that they have done since 1951 to improve the lives of our homeless community here in Los Angeles. As we all know, the residents in the Skid Row area are a vulnerable community affected by a whole host of dependence, mental health, and poverty issues. No doubt, these people with stories and dreams have dreams like everybody else. It takes special individuals to dedicate their time and energy to help the people who call Skid Row home, the kind of people you find at the Weingart Center. Ben and Stella Weingart started the Weingart Foundation in order to touch the lives of countless men and women who make up our homeless population in Skid Row. When you hear the story of Ben Weingart, who was once an orphan and came to Los Angeles penniless, then went on to become one of Los Angeles' most successful and wealthy individuals, you will understand that he understood what goes on in Skid Row, and his legacy continues today. On any given night, there are over 51,000 homeless people throughout Los Angeles County, with the highest concentration in the 50 or so blocks that make up Skid Row, that are each and every night without a place to call home. One key way to support this community is through employment, and I want to commend the Weingart Center for helping over 600 people in the Skid Row area get jobs. Through their Emerge and EPIC programs, Weingart provides housing, education, workforce development, and job placement assistance to help homeless individuals enhance their earning potential and successfully re-enter the community. I want to recognize the honorable work they do, from the care providers to the board of directors, to help break the cycle of poverty and homelessness in our city. So I want to present this certificate to the Weingart Center. Thank you so, so much for the work you do on behalf of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you so much, Senator. And also to our great senator who is now retired, Kevin Murray, thank you for taking on this very, very important role, bringing your skills, your talents, and all your legislative experience to continue to address one of the most pressing issues that not only the city faces, but our country. Thank you so much, Senator, for your work on behalf of the city of Los Angeles. Now, you only have 2 arms, so that's it for the certificates.
Mr. Weezer, Ms. Perry would like to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Weezer, for honoring the Weingarten. We, of course, share many of the borders along Skid Row and some of the assets or resources that the Weingarten provides to the population of people who are defined as homeless are also in the 9th District. And, you know, I've worked with Mr. Murray over the years, and I find him to be an extremely direct, extremely candid, highly intelligent individual who doesn't mince words. And when he came to us and asked and explained to us the importance of updating their homeless management information system so that we could all work together to better track the needs and the resources for people who live in and about this community. So I was really happy and very, very pleased to be able to provide support through AB 1290 money so that system could be updated, because it always has to be more than just words. It has to be actions backed up with revenue to be able to help many of the social service providers who struggle every day. And Weingarten does a great job and has been doing a great job, and is going through a lot of transitions right now, particularly with realignment of individuals who are coming out of prison and are being directed to the social services in Skid Row. So that money was well spent, and I was happy to be able to provide it so that Weingarten could be up to date and to be able to serve all the clients who come through its doors even better. Thank you very much, Mr. Murray, and thank you to the Weingarten Center.
Thank you.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, that's how I know you as a senator. In your position now, you're helping people, and in Sacramento you were helping people. So I just want to acknowledge, as I travel through downtown Los Angeles, there's a lot of folks in need. What the Weingarten Center reaches out and helps them all. So I just want to acknowledge what you're doing to help your fellow human being. And you've always been an individual that I've looked at when I used to go to Sacramento with the Police Protective League. You always had your arms open to welcome at, always receptive to new ideas and concerns and helping people. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that you're being honored for helping people, which is what this is all about. That's what we're here for. So congratulations on this honor. Councilmember Weezer, thank you for honoring a good friend of Los Angeles, our former senator, current man who helps people in Los Angeles. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Zine. Mr. Alarcon.
Council members, for 8 years, Kevin Murray was my seatmate in Sacramento, and if you can imagine, we were probably admonished and scolded by the President Pro Tem for causing disruptions in the State Senate more than any other 2 legislators, and causing bursts of laughter, random bursts of laughter out of the Senate chambers. But underneath it all, we take our work very seriously. And Kevin, it's really good to see that you are continuing a passion for public service and service to the community. And there is no more difficult and challenging issue than homelessness in our city. And so thank you for your support for the Weingarten Center. They do important work, obviously, as was said, but the fact that you are helping them do it is truly a compliment and a statement about your commitment to our community. So thank you so much, and thank you for shaking it up a little bit here, too, to get services to the homeless.
Senator, I had the opportunity to serve with you for 6 years. It was truly a pleasure. I guess the thing that I enjoyed the most, what people don't know about the 2 of us, we could have like a 87-second meeting and deal with 7 different problems. Anyway, my friend, Senator Kevin Murray, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My talent agency background has told me never to follow animals particularly cute adoptable animals, but here goes. First of all, I want to thank my good friend, Councilman Huizar, for honoring the Weingart Center. It is truly a passion, and on behalf of myself and the board members and the donors and particularly the participants, we want to thank the city for all it has done and all it will do in the future. Again, I want to thank our councilman, one of our council persons, Councilman Huizar, as well as Councilwoman Perry, who indicated, and I again want to thank her for the money that she provided, almost directly and almost instantaneously for the upgrade of our IT system. We differ from some of our colleagues, our excellent colleagues in the homeless services area, in that in addition to a bed and a meal, a bed and 3 meals, we provide job training, we provide housing location services, we provide resume building, we provide medical services, and so we are truly trying to teach someone how to fish rather than just give them a fish. I want to actually update the councilman's numbers. As of today, we have provided 644 jobs this year for formerly chronically homeless people and actually gotten them off of the streets, and I think that's what we do. And that's what we want to continue to do going forward. Again, you made the mistake of giving, as you already know, a politician the mic for a few minutes, and so I'm going to take advantage of that. One of our challenges going forward, obviously funding is always a challenge. Obviously, we do get funding from many of the city's housing and homeless services, but we have 2 properties that we were in the middle of discussions with CRA on in order to expand our permanent supportive housing operation. I understand with the action that the council took yesterday, I understand, having been in your shoes in many cases, the liabilities that would have gone along with taking over CRA, but I want to urge you, and I offer my participation, and I offer the Weingart Center's participation in Sacramento, if we can help, in helping come to some resolution so that all of the good things that CRA has done and has in the works don't fall by the wayside. In addition to those positive new things that might have happened under CRA, we currently have 2 parking lots that we rent from CRA that would put us in great jeopardy if we had no place for our 170 employees to park, if those properties were somehow put on the open market. And so I want to add a face, not my face, but the face of the Weingart Center to the idea that the good works that CRA was doing for organizations like ours, and not just commercial developers and not just profit-seeking profiteers. So any help that I can add, or any help that the Weingart Center can be in helping to try and resolve that in a more positive way, we would be happy to do. And in closing, I just want to say I'm very happy to see all of you, many of you my former colleagues, and all of you my friends, and we offer our support in any way that we can, particularly on policy for the homeless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Murray.
Thank you very much, Senator Murray. And indeed, the work that the center is doing is extremely important, not only because it affects one of the most basic issues we have as human beings, which is a roof over our head and something to eat, and you are certainly doing some very, very important work, so thank you for your work, Senator. And you are correct, Mr. President. One of the characteristics I saw in both of you is the amount of minutes one conducts with either of you in just a minute or two, so that was one thing I had noticed about both of you.
My wife calls it ADD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Zine, next presentation,
Thank you.
Mr. Dennis Zine. And while Mr. Zine is walking up to the podium, I just want to announce that Evan, our dog, Mr. Koretz, has been adopted. In fact, it may be somebody in Mr. Krikorian's office who adopted Evan. But anyway, our 100% adoption rate continues. Oh, there he is right here. Come.
Congratulations.
When Mr. Zine's finished, we'll show off the dog.
You do it right now. Do it right now. You show the dog off right now.
Mr. Zine. Here, come here. Come up here with the prez.
All right, let's show that with Mr. President.
Come.
Look at that.
So we got Evan adopted, and his new dad is Carl.
Congratulations, Carl.
He also has brothers and sisters still at the shelter.
And yes, waiting to be adopted. Thank you, Carl. 100%. All righty.
Nice job,
Mr. Zine.
Wilson. Nice job. Thank you. Well, we're here to celebrate someone's special anniversary, 60 years of marriage. And it occurred on this day in 1952. It was the summer of 1951. Gilda Blumenthal and several of her childhood friends from the Bronx went to the lake Mohegan in the Catskills. That same summer, Seymour Kaplan and several of his childhood friends from the streets of Brownsville, Brooklyn, home of Murder Incorporated, went to the same bungalow colony. It was a magical summer as Gilda and her two best friends, Lee and Flo, met Seymour and his two best friends, Skid and Freddie, when the boys were walking their drunken pet duck, Pierpoint, on a leash wearing a bow tie. On January 13, 1952, exactly 60 years ago today, Gilda and Seymour were married. And the two other couples married within a year. The Kaplans moved to San Fernando Valley in June of '64, seeking the magical life we have all been enjoying. Apparently, Robert still hasn't forgotten his father for leaving his toy and tiger stuffed animal behind, and that's Robert there taking the photos. Seymour is part of the greatest generation, having served his country as a sergeant in World War II. During his service, Seymour was part of the Special Services arranging entertainment for the troops. In his capacity, he was in charge of several Nazi POWs in Paris and took great joy in showing them his Star of David, threatening to send them to a POW camp if they didn't obey his every command. With an early interest in photography, Seymour found his way into the garment industry, representing a range of well-known manufacturers, and eventually moving into the discount office supply business. Now, Gilda, on the other hand, lovely wife, still claiming to be a child bride some 20 years, Seymour's junior, was the original multitasker, taking care of her sons, Alan, who we have with us, and Robert. If we can get the camera on Robert so people can see that individual, see how two sons from the same parents can be so much different. While pursuing a career in legal services and her hobby of singing Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra around the house, in the car, and at any opportunity that might present itself. So you love to sing Sinatra and Streisand. Seymour and Gilda and their friends, a group of 26 that started in New York and then moved to California, were the original Trumbullers, creating joy and fun everywhere they went. They are active in their synagogue, can be found daily at 360 Gym, lifting weights, doing Zumba, and still tumbling. Their children, Alan and Robert, are devoted to their parents, providing for them and spending time with them to ensure their golden years are just that, as worry-free as possible. A wonderful legacy to follow. Robert has been a friend of mine for many, many years. We go back over 10 years, and there's a number of jokes I'm not going to mention here. And it's my pleasure to, 20 years, Robert, 20 years. My pleasure to present this to you, signed by the city family. Happiness and prosperity, 60th wedding anniversary, and many years of happiness to come. And I know the love. I've been out to dinner with you and your family, and Robert's never picked up the bill, but Alan has. So, with love and appreciation, great city residents, great San Fernando Valley residents, many, many happy returns. 60 years. God bless you both.
And this is a wonderful honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine. Before you do, I'd like to call on Ms. Perry, who had some remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and Robert, who's busy taking pictures over there. I wanted to say to his parents and to his mother, thank you very much for the candy. But to Robert, he speaks constantly about you two. I've had the pleasure of working with him on a number of projects, and whenever he gets really busy or he's working late, he always says, well, you know, I got to go, I got to do this, I got to see my parents, I got to talk to my parents. He just adores you both very, very much. And the fact that you've been together for 60 years is absolutely astonishing. You meet very few people these days who get to be together that long and they still actually like each other. And it's clear that you two actually like each other.
That is really a milestone, honestly.
It is a milestone. That's a big milestone.
And I have two wonderful sons. They're my blessing, both of them.
Yeah,
and
they
Robert
both
is
seem like
unbelievable and so kind, and Alan equally so.
They take after their father.
They take after
Thank
their
you,
father, yes.
Thank you very
I want
much.
to thank you for
Anyway,
this honor.
Ms.
I
Perry.
really thank you for this honor. It's really very wonderful to all the council. And I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy new year and good peace.
Thank you so much, Ms. Perry. Thank you. Mr. Koretz.
Over here.
Well, I've known your son Robert for many years, and I just want to let you know I won't hold that against you. Actually, Robert is a great guy. He's done so much charitable work for so many years and so many great things, and I know where he gets that from. Although I also know where he gets his sense of humor from based on how you met walking a drunken duck wearing a bow tie. That tells me a lot. But congratulations. I know you've been a wonderful couple for all these years, and you've raised some wonderful children and given them to us as a gift in the city of Los Angeles.
That is true, and I thank you again for all that wonderful things and thoughts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Englander.
And this is really beautiful. I mean, this is really... Oh, hi.
I want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
A wonderful couple.
Thank you.
You know, I've known at least one of your sons, Robert, for over 20 years. And it's true what they say, that love and ethics and beauty can skip a generation. In fact, and clearly that's the case. Robert Kaplan is your son, one of my poster childs that when we ever get into the debate or discussion about looking at rent control, I bring up Robert Kaplan's name. I mean, here's a guy who makes over $5 million a year, who has a Santa Monica beachfront rent-controlled condo where he parks his Porsche. And so I just want to say that congratulations on at least you've got one great son behind you who you've done a terrific job with. You're a beautiful couple. You deserve this recognition. Mazel tov, and for many, many more years.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I think Robert pays about $200 a month for that beachside condo that under Santa Monica rent control he can keep forever, and he will. But it's the love that these two have together, and with the love and concern from their two sons, Robert and Alan, because they watch over you constantly. Anytime I call Robert for something, he says, I'm taking care of Dad, I'm taking care of Mom. You've got two wonderful sons, and you're a great parent, so congratulations. And he charges you, too. With that, Seymour, any comments from you? Any comments from you?
No, it's fine.
All right, Robert, why don't you come here to get in so that everyone in Los Angeles can see what you look like, so they'll be able to recognize
These
you.
are my twins, Alan and Robert. They're my twins. One is 6.
Any comments from you, Robert?
Excuse me. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you all for the honor from my parents. Thank you, Councilman.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'd like to say thank you to Councilwoman Perry for her nice comments, Councilman Koretz for his, and for Councilman Englander, I'll reserve those comments when I talk to Jane later. But I want to say these are great parents. My brother Alan over here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today in the community if it wasn't for the way they brought me up, and my brother for what he does in San Francisco. So thank you all, and congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Dennis.
Richard?
Seymour, we're going to go back.
Mr. Alacon?
Why don't you get your goodies here, we'll go back. Then we're going to go straight ahead. Straight ahead. Seymour, we're going to go right through that.
Good morning. I know our police and security folks were wondering who the guy with the Christmas hat was sitting here all this time, especially since the Christmas season is over. But for the gentleman to my right, the Christmas season is never over. And I have to tell you, this is one of those presentations where, you know, some are fun, some are business oriented, some are internationally related, and some are social policy oriented. Well, this is sort of all of those things. This is a real important issue, but it's also fun. What I am talking about is the Christmas season ending. During this time, most of us are taking our Christmas trees and putting them on the curb or cutting them up and sticking them in the green bin. But this is a presentation about a better thing to do. So I want to present to you Scotty Claus. Scotty has come up with an amazing idea that he has implemented over the years. It has been in the press recently. That's how I caught the attention of it. So let me tell you what this is all about. Thanks to Scotty Claus and the Living Christmas Company, not all Christmas trees are dying this year. Their trees are going back to the ground to be enjoyed again next year. The Living Christmas Tree Company was founded in 2008 by Scotty Claus Martin. Living Christmas Tree Company provides live potted trees delivered to customers' doorsteps. After Christmas, they picked up the trees and returned them to their nursery until the next year. In fact, if you want, you can have the same Christmas tree from year to year delivered to your house by just putting a little tag on it, and they make sure that you get it back the next year. So the company has not only created a profitable business, they are doing something good for our environment by ensuring that these trees never die. This year, the Living Christmas Tree Company distributed over 1,300 trees around Southern California. They have a tree donation program, and each year they donate living Christmas trees and deliver them to selected local nonprofit organizations to help them reach their charitable goals. Through the Living Christmas Tree Foundation, they delivered over 50 trees to either families in need or families with children in the hospital. In fact, I purchased one for Northridge Hospital's Pediatric Trauma Care Center. They also provide seasonal work to over 25 delivery drivers and laborers, including workers recommended by the Veteran Affairs Office. This is truly a holistic approach to the idea of Christmas trees. While delivering the trees, the elves also collected 1,000 pounds of donations for the Goodwill. And to top it all off, the trees have returned to the reclaimed land designated as a brownfield that used to be an oil refinery. So as you can see, this is a very special company aiming to help our community and our environment. As you know, up to 80% of the green waste still ends up in a landfill as daily cover. Every tree rented is one less discarded tree requiring collection and disposal, potentially saving hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. Because of their commitment to the environment, the Living Tree Company won the 2010 Seed Award for Environmental Innovation. They also have the Mature Tree Adoption Program because according to their website, their trees are well loved, but sometimes because of their size or condition, they are forced to retire them from active rental duty. And so these retirees are donated for urban reforestation programs and nonprofit landscaping projects. As you can see, this is well thought out, and they continue to find innovation to focus on their goal of saving these trees. According to, so let me introduce Scotty Claus, otherwise known as Scott Martin. According to his website, he's the lead Christmas caroler and Living Christmas Tree Company founder. Scotty Claus is the instigator of the company's Silly Hat policy, as you can see, and keeper of the Living Christmas Tree Company vision. His dream is for every Californian to meld the magic of their fondness for Christmas memories with the new tradition of living Christmas trees. He hopes that celebrating a living Christmas tree will help bridge the connection between the joy of the Christmas celebration and our responsibility to the environment. He also hopes that for once his dad will get more than a rock in his stocking this year because but admits that it's a pretty funny family tradition. You know, sometimes moving social agendas, moving good environmental policy takes a little sense of humor. Obviously, Scotty embraces that notion, and embraces the whole notion of making people happy. And Christmas is known for making children happy, especially. But more importantly, there's a sense of responsibility that comes with the thousands and thousands of trees that are cut down to find that happiness. Well, there is a better way, and Scotty Claus has found it. The Living Tree Company is doing something that benefits all of us, and I thought it would be appropriate for us to recognize him, but more importantly, to publicize it so that hopefully we will save another 1,000 trees next year by growing his company. Good luck, and let me present these certificates to you. If there are no comments from my colleagues. Okay.
Important. I love both.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
So let me present these two certificates, one to the Living Christmas Tree Company, but also to Scotty Claus, Scott Martin, for his incredible innovation. If we're going to solve the environmental problems, we have to have innovation. So, Scott, thank you so much for your work and continued success. Please.
Thank you, Council Member. Thank you, Council. I give a lot of credit to Los Angeles for my company. I've born and raised here in Southern California. I've been lucky enough to travel 50, 60 different countries around the world. And people ask me, what about Los Angeles? What is it here? And I go, well, there's things to see. There's some great museums and locations. But really, it's the weather, A, and B, it's opportunity. And I use myself as an example. You can even start renting Christmas trees in Los Angeles, and there's not a single person that would say that's crazy. Because you can literally do anything you want with enough passion in Southern California, and that's what we've done. We started a new business. We've changed the paradigm from something you throw away to something you can value, and we rent it. And all the magical things that have come from that. And just by sharing that message and doing this in Southern California, we've attracted media attention. We've got, over the last 2-3 years, over 100 million different views around the world, meaning picked up by the LA Times, International Herald Tribune. And at every opportunity, I talk about what it means to be in Southern California and what it means to be here working in Los Angeles. So thank you very much for that opportunity, and look forward to interacting with you guys in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Claus. Okay, that concludes our presentation program. Mr. Englander for an announcement or an introduction.
An introduction of some special guests, ladies and gentlemen, that we've got here in our council chambers before us. Very special guests. We are all going out to our community and sharing with them that crime is down 9 years in a row. We're all going out to our community that's saying that LAPD is doing a phenomenal job. We are all going out to our community and celebrating the men and women in the dark blue uniform. But truth be told, it's the men and women in the light blue uniform that are truly saving this city. The Los Angeles Police Department cadets who are here today in the back, from Topanga Station, Southeast, Southwest, USC, and the Chief of Cadets for the entire city of Los Angeles are joining us today on their tour of City Hall. And they've stopped by council chambers to share their respect and show off their uniforms. And I wanted to do the same, to say thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for the police department, for the city of Los Angeles, for keeping us safe, for volunteering countless hours at community events, for traffic control, for crime prevention, for meeting with neighbors and outreach, attending neighborhood councils, doing all the wonderful things you do citywide. Thank you for coming by here. We truly appreciate your service to the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stand up. Would you guys please stand up? Okay, Madam Clerk, we're back to the agenda. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to do before we go to public comment, why don't we take up items 9 and 10? I've got cards on items 9 and 10. We're going to take them up together unless the city attorney tells me something differently. So to speak on these items, on item 9, Arnold Sachs. On item 10, Arnold Sachs and Mr. Herman, if you guys could please come forward. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, City Council. Good morning again, Mr. Wesson. Item 9, and the use of AB 1290 funds versus straight out redevelopment agency funds. This seems to be occurring more and more often with the changing of the redevelopment, the status of the redevelopment agency. When these AB 1290 funds are not under the auspices of the governor's plan that eliminated redevelopment agencies, but they're being used as redevelopment funds for certain activities. So the question I would have is, why couldn't the city have transferred funds or work with the legislation to put these funds, redevelopment funds, into the account AB 1290? I mean, we have seen accounting procedures in the city that would boggle the mind. So what would be the difficulty of moving cities' redevelopment funds into a separate account under AB 1290 that would allow them to use those remaining redevelopment funds for redevelopment projects? Makes some kind of sense to me, but I'm only a gadfly who, homeless gadfly, by the way. Item number 10, I held, now the Proposition 8 grant funds for the acquisition of land adjacent to the Araya Canyon Park. Recently, the County Board of Supervisors allocated excess county funds. This would be, I would imagine, Prop A funds. Is that excess county funds? But they could be matched by a grant from excess city funds that are somehow or other connected with the county's ability to grant excess city funds for, I know they granted funds for the redevelopment or the rehabilitation of the restrooms at the Hollywood Bowl. And they used both excess county funds from the wonderful Supervisor Yaroslavsky's district and city fund. So I'm wondering, is there a matching grant fund here that would allow for excess city funds in addition to excess county funds and their relationship to the Prop A grant funds? Thank you.
Mr. Herman, on item 10.
Council members, good morning, or at this point, good afternoon. I'm here to remind the City of LA that access is the most important travel for everyone. There's been a corridor in our district, which is CD14, has to do with infrastructure. It has impeded our travel, it has impeded traffic of pedestrians, and the worst case scenario of this problem, it has endangered the public. They have illegally placed signs that ask you to cross to the adjacent street, which will cause people to become injured because there is no sidewalk there. And this is just something small, something that can be a solution to. It's on Soto between Zonal Avenue and Chelsea Street, something maybe the mayor will look into. But we must meet the needs of people with disability. We must provide them the best opportunity to access any corridor, any street. Another situation are the sandwich boards throughout many.
Mr. President, I don't believe he's talking about item number 10.
Are we we're on public comment?
No. We are on item 10.
Oh, then may I return since I've been interrupted?
No, go right ahead. But no, I just want to make sure it's clear. We are now the public comment where it relates to these items, and I'll give you your time. I'll give you your time, but it was item 9 and 10. So this you have to speak to item 10.
I'll pass for public comment. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Seeing no members in the Q, why don't we open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote?
11 ayes.
Okay, that should bring us to public comment at this time. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Samuel Sperling, Marshall Bennett, Robert Litomninsky, and I apologize. But if you could all come forward now. I call 3 names. I want to see 3 people. Okay.
All right, I'm Marshall Bennett. I own the building at 6th and San Pedro in beautiful Skid Row. I'm here to just reiterate what I'm sure the LAPD has been telling council. We have a big problem, and I realize that the city is constrained by certain legal agreements and certain court decisions as to the property belonging to the homeless. However, our big problem is that the homeless completely block the sidewalks, certainly on 6th Street and often on San Pedro Street, and deny access to our business. Our business is essentially leasing space to light industrial concerns, and it's getting to the point that we can't bring new tenants into the building simply because they can't even get into the front door. Now, if there's anything that can be done about this, or anyone really cares, it'd be great. I just, again, want to call everyone's attention to it. Another issue is parking. LAPD had asked LADOT to stripe the parking areas on San Pedro and 6th Street red to eliminate parking. That has done nothing to alleviate the drug dealing that goes on in the area. What it has done is made it more difficult for people in our building, our businesses in our building, their customers. They have no place to park. As Mr. Murray greatly said, Weingart is directly across the street. They do great work. They've got parking. They used to let us use it, but now they're full. We would like some remedy with regard to the parking situation as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute, Mr. Perry. Miss Perry, I want to ask you a question. Are the other 2 gentlemen with you?
Yes.
Miss Perry, why don't we let both of them then respond, and then when you respond, you can deal with their 3 concerns there together. Okay, who's next?
Did you ask Mr. Litomninsky, Robert?
Yeah, you're the cleanup hitter, so let's have Mr. Sperling now.
Yes, hello, council members. My name is Robert Litomninsky, and I am one of the tenants in Mr. Bennett's building. I am a photographer and independent music video producer, and I actually really find it very difficult to conduct business in this neighborhood when the city has eliminated any options for parking. This happened two and 3 years ago. They striped 6th Street and then San Pedro, so now my clients can't park there. And again, couple that with the issue of the private property of the homeless, obstructing the walkways, and it makes for a very difficult situation. So if Weingart is asking for some sort of remedy to help them accomplish greater parking flexibility in parking, we would ask the same, first of all, and then second of all, we would ask the city to help establish a place for the homeless to take their private property to alleviate the situation on the sidewalks, them being impassable. So, those are the 2 solutions I'm looking for to help my business. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming down. So, Mr. Sperling, you're choosing not to speak? Oh, okay then. All right, Ms. Perry?
A couple of things, and thank you, gentlemen, for coming down today. There is a facility, and it's actually located over in the 14th District, for people who are homeless to take their belongings and store them there, and they can check them in and check them out when they choose to, and I'll give you some information on that. We had a court case that we settled a number of years ago, and one of the aspects of the settlement was that people are not permitted to block driveways and to block doorways. And so I'm going to have one of my deputies contact you and work with you and the senior lead officer to alleviate that concern, because that's not the intention of the settlement, to prevent people's businesses from being conducted in a manner that they choose to conduct themselves. So, and as for the parking situation, we're about to find ourselves in a very interesting situation given the demise of the redevelopment agency. And I think if you were here when Mr. Murray spoke about the parking lots across from the Weingart, and the Weingart has several assets spread out over the area. Some of them are in the 14th, some of them are in the 9th. But if you're being adversely impacted, you know, when we take into account whatever the future holds in terms of solving this parking situation, you should be a part of that conversation. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to give you some contact information, and then we'll follow up with you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Next, I want to see Mr. Herman. Now you're up. Mr. Sachs and Pat McCosker. So I've called 3 names. I expect to see 3 people at the podium. Arnold Sachs. Mr. Herman.
Now I have the floor. Thank you. Once again, my priority is to be as supportive as possible, not just in my community, but in support as a volunteer. On many attempts, I have placed my own time, my own effort, to get the cooperation of Anna Kubas to come to me through email, through telephone conversation, and she has not. I am not alone in this situation. There are many others within our community who wish to be addressed. When do we have a town meeting? When can we address not just service issues, what about our general complaints? I'm a strong believer in communication, and yes, it does have to be mutual. But going back to the problem with people with disabilities, people with access, we must open up not just corridors from objects that obstruct our pathway, our flow of travel, but we must remove the nuisance, the blight of these objects that interfere. I wish you would really look into this matter. It's an issue in CD14, and I hope the flow of communication will be better. Ms. Anna Kubas, if you're listening, I'm here because of this reason, and I really would like to address it. Furthermore, in addition to the comments made here, there's going to be other comments that we as a public don't like to be called or viewed as threatening. We're not. All we ask is that a hearing ear, a responsible, appropriate manner of professionalism take place when it comes to addressing our issues, as one of our own persons will come to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. Here was an interesting article in this week's Downtown News, January 9th. Watch for trains on Metro Expo line tracks. Do not go around lowered gates. Never make a left turn on a red arrow. This traffic rule will be enforced by cameras at intersections. So Metro has red light cameras at intersections that will be enforced. Does anybody know for certain that the courts will uphold those red light cameras, because we know the city council took action to eliminate red light cameras? But Metro is including Metro red light cameras. Who knows? Here's another interesting story. Payment of LA benefits delayed. This is from January 12th of this year. January 3rd of this year. And in part of this, it said that that part of the program Working in sync with the City Council, Villaraigosa has delayed paying for such obligations as police overtime, unused sick time, contractually agreed upon wage hikes, and an early retirement program that gave 2,400 employees full pensions 5 years ahead of schedule. So the reason I bring that up is because this article from 4/21/11 states Wendy Gruhl, who said she was troubled by Villaraigosa's proposal to borrow $43 million to get through the coming year. That loan would help pay for a 2009 program that let 2,400 employees retire early, part of an effort to shrink the workforce. So if this loan was for $43 million to pay the 2,400 people, and the mayor is not paying the 2,400 people, what happened to $43 million? I don't know, and I'm out of time.
Thank you. Mr. McCosker. Arnold, just move away. Your time is up. Come on, Mr. McCosker.
Morning, Council President, members. Pat McCosker, President, United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. About 3 o'clock in the morning, yesterday morning, we had a tragedy out in the West Valley. Had a structure fire, residential fire, and the home is a total loss, it looked like to me when I was out there yesterday. But more tragically, we had a badly burned adult male, actually, one of the 3 occupants. And the last I heard, he's in intensive care in the burn ward, burns over 60% of his body, intubated. We hope that he survives. We hope and pray that he survives. The reason I come here today to talk about this, besides those important facts, is the fact that it took us 9 minutes to get there. The first company on scene got there in 9 minutes. And it happened because of what we talked about, what we warned about during the budget deliberations last year. You'll remember that last year we closed 18 fire companies and 4 ambulances in budget cuts, or due to budget cuts. One of the closed engine companies was the nearest engine company, Engine 105, that would have responded to that fire. What happened out there was we had a collision. The remaining company, Light Force 105, was on a medical call at 3 in the morning when the call came in. And so our dispatcher sent the closest companies. The closest one was from the next station over, 106's. It took them, despite their best efforts, took them 9 minutes to get there. And by the time they got there, that gentleman was badly burned. And I'm not here to say that nothing would have happened to him or that house had we got there twice as fast. But it was from twice as far that they came. So we would have got there twice as fast. We're not giving people the very best chance to survive these things. We ask you to work with us now to carry through what you said very wisely when you adopted the budget, and that is we are the top priority when money comes available. And we think there is now money coming available, and that you would restore the fire department first among all your other budget priorities. So thank you for that. I know you were sold sort of a bill of goods from the fire department. We're 6 months into it, and their own statistics now show that it's taken us longer to get there. In 11 of 17 categories, it's taken us longer to get there, and I want to work with you on that.
Thank you, Mr. McCosker.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael, carry on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not pay attention to the queue. With that, you've got Mr. Garcetti, then Mr. Zine.
We can't address in any detail, but I do want to say, and it's publicly posted, that Mr. Englander and I introduced a motion to that effect to remind us of that policy that we have. Obviously, as the dissolution of the CRA comes in, monies will have to be distributed in different ways, but we're making sure that that's a priority.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regarding this particular matter, I spoke with Mr. McCosker. I have received a 12-page rundown from the other city fire department, which we're analyzing, and there is a concern that at 3:14 in the morning, when a call goes in, we have sufficient resources to respond to save people. So we're going to analyze this. There's no question we want full companies, and we're working to that endeavor along with this entire council. So we don't want to neglect the responsibility of the people, but this was a 3:14 in the morning situation where we should have sufficient resources at that time.
I think that's more than a brief.
Pardon me? I was just finishing to say thank you.
Thank you, you can say. Next time you need to push your button a little quicker so that you can beat Garcetti. Michael, carry on.
Michael, carry on here.
In fact, Michael, if you could stand there for 1 second. I'm going to see who's left here. We have a bunch of cards, but I really don't see any people. So Michael Carrion, Tia Kunze, Carlos Montez, Noel, I know you're here. Why don't you come on up? Noel Weiss. Cliff Smith. Alberto Valera. Maria Estrada. Sandra Williams. Lisa Sarkin. Michael, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Wednesday, I was at a meeting, Department of Transportation, and heard a city attorney had a lot of mumbo jumbo. I'm reading what Eric Montel sent me. It states the same thing I stated. These vehicles are only exempt in an emergency. Wow, if you guys get this printout, read it. Please read it clearly before you vote on this. It says the same thing it says in the rest of these reports. Police vehicles are only exempt from parking in the red in an emergency. End of story. I don't know how an attorney, well, I know how he's an attorney. He switched things all around and made you guys believe that they were exempt because they're emergency vehicles. What he stated was, what is an emergency vehicle? Ambulance, fire, police, etc. Then he went on to state that they're exempt. They're not exempt. They are exempt in an emergency, quote, and end of quote. So let's just get that straight. If you're going to vote on this, gentlemen, ladies, read it. They're only in an emergency. Gentlemen said before us, what does somebody have to do? Get burned 60% before someone like Mr. Zine steps up to the plate and does something about it? I spoke to Mr. Weezar's office about the barriers on Alcazar, on Soto. A disabled person like the gentleman here can't cross. Across the street, it's mud. How do you expect somebody in a wheelchair to get across the street? You don't. But the money that's put into downtown, Bring Back Broadway, is not put into Boyle Heights or El Sereno. Once again, I got a call from Ana Cubas stating that she didn't like the fact that I used her name. Well, if Ana Cubas calls back in a timely fashion, I won't use her name. But she called upset because I used her name, so I used it 3 times. Ana Cubas finally failed to call.
Michael, make my life, and I'm going to hold your time.
Hold my time.
Make my life easier, I'm asking you.
Okay.
Direct your concerns to the council
I am.
as a whole. You don't have to identify her. You can say there's a staff person that works for whatever, but let's just, I mean, you said her
got me
name.
confused here. I am addressing the council.
Yeah,
of
but
an individual.
let's eliminate directing the concerns where it relates to her.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
The individual in
as
Mr.
a
Weezar's
as a
office.
favor.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Failed to return the calls in a timely fashion, and then had the audacity
No,
to
keep
call
going.
back upset.
No.
Thank you.
You finished? Because I'll give you more.
I just want to make sure it's clear. I don't have a problem working with Mr. Weezar or his office. He's a very nice person. When his office fails to make these communications, I have the right, and I will come here on public comment and voice my opinion.
And that's fine.
Okay, there's one thing I'd like to just add real quick. He's had one person work for him that had did their job 100%, okay, and he knows who she is, since I won't mention her name. Since then, I've had difficulties with a lot of his staff. That's why I'm
Thank
here.
you, Michael. Mr. Weiss, please come forward.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Welcome to the chair. Hopefully, you'll do an excellent job in enforcing Rule 27, which requires for there to be a quorum present, everybody in the 4 corners of this particular room. Going forward again, I want to thank Carmen Jutanich gave us some time this morning, as well as Jan Perry and Mr. Englander concerning this Rancho facility in San Pedro. It's 25 million gallons of butane, the largest in the nation. What the people there are looking for is essentially an exposition and a discussion, if you will, of the need of how the city is going to be protected. There's a license agreement that is improvidently and really improperly drafted by the city attorney. It doesn't provide for any degree of insurance protection for the city, let alone the constituents. And what Ms. Perry's motion is going to hopefully do when Mr. Englander hears it, when Ms. Perry tells Mr. Englander to hear it, and hopefully that'll be sooner than later, is to provide for an opportunity to educate the public, as well as, hopefully in the end, what we'll end up with is some direction so we get some decent protection for the city and for the people. Going forward, on the city attorney's budget, because I know that's a big issue, I have a suggestion. I think, given the amount of variances that Mr. Koretz has given away like candy in the past year or so, we're basically going into court now and we're prevailing on these because they're blatantly unlawful acts that Mr. Koretz has undertaken. The city attorney in that situation, these land use entitlements provide an indemnity. That indemnity says that the party who sought the entitlement has to reimburse the city. I would suggest respectfully to this council, and we're talking probably now, in one case we had an appeal, a West Chandler case, now we have the Strathmore case in Westwood. There's probably $400,000 worth of city attorney time having to defend what amounts to Mr. Koretz's unlawful acts. And the city council's unlawful acts, but obviously you're doing it because he's asking you to do it. Bottom line is, I think the city attorney should enforce that indemnity and get from these real parties that reimbursement. Thank you very much.
Mr. Weiss. Jeanette Gunther, Cynthia Banks or Cynthia Banker, and Martin Terrones. Ms. Gunter, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Janet Gunter, and I'm with the San Pedro Peninsula Homeowners United. Thank you. I was here to speak on the issue of the liquid propane or petroleum gas facility in San Pedro, and the homeowners really want to thank Jan Perry for bringing that forward and referring it to the Safety Commission or Safety Committee. Recently met with a state assembly person who, upon investigation of this particular facility, said to me, "Oh my God, this is a September 10th situation." I'm here today to emphasize that, in fact, it is a September 10th situation. This facility, in its volume, it's the single largest facility of its kind in the United States, located in a populated area. The energy there exceeds 45 nuclear Hiroshima bombs in its energy potential. So that it's not just San Pedro and Wilmington and the harbor that are going to be affected upon a catastrophe there. It's the city of Los Angeles itself, and the fiduciary responsibility here to the city is a big one. So I can only urge that sense of urgency that was with some great degree of astonishment when researching what this facility is and how it's come into play. It's sitting on the Palos Verdes Fault. It's fitting in an LA documented rupture zone of that fault. There was no state geologist exemption when it was entered in and built on this fault. These are numerous things that rights, laws that it's been exempted from CEQA law. The legacy, the litany of things goes on and on. Please just help us if you can.
Thank you. So was it a Cynthia Banks or Banker? Martin Terrones? Well, it would appear that ends public And what's your name? I don't have a card on you, Miss Armstrong, but please come forward.
Thank you so much, Councilman. My name is Sarah Armstrong. I'm addressing you today in my capacity as the legal liaison for the Greater Los Angeles Collective Alliance, which represents the older pre-ICO dispensaries in the city. This morning we took a delegation of lawyers, activists, and patients up to public safety so that they might speak about the proposed ban. Because there was no quorum, we were shut out of this process and instead had to sit silent, unable to present our side of the story or a sample ordinance which might show you how to regulate in a post-PAC environment. I know that the council is divided on this issue, but this rush to ban has just been crazy. Yesterday, in the council files appeared 111 pages of documents relating to the hearing this morning. This does not give council staff enough time to absorb or understand what they've been given. Additionally, statements were made today which we would very badly like the opportunity to rebut. There are two sides to every story. Lawyers are trained from day one in law school to present their side of the story as skillfully as they can. We would like to present our side of the story. We have been shut out of this process. I would ask you all to give us 15 minutes of your time, each of you in a private meeting, so that we might bring a lawyer who's skilled in fashioning a post-PAC ordinance so we can show you how it can be done, and to talk about the parade of horribles that will follow if you do ban. You have many lawsuits right now, but they're wrapping up. Most of them are in appeal. Lawyers call me every week. Ms. Armstrong, come to a meeting so we can show you how we can sue if there's a ban. Ms. Armstrong, come to a meeting so we can show you how to do a voter referendum. I was born here. I do not want any of this. If you enact a sensible regulation, none of it will follow, and most of the existing litigation will go away as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that ends public comment at this time. Madam Clerk, where does that bring us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, let's consider those posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Okay, members, announcements, members? Mr. Labange.
This is a tremendous weekend. It's a national holiday on Monday, as you all know, for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as we all parade people, there's a parade starts at 11 o'clock in KABC Channel 7. We'll televise the parade for those who can't make the parade. And I just wanted to mention that to you and thank Arnie Kleiner, their general manager, always has that commitment for that Martin Luther King Jr. parade. This morning I went to the YMCA breakfast. And it was a wonderful breakfast to salute the legacy of Dr. King. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Any other announcements? Will members, let's please rise for adjourning motions. Will all members in the chambers please rise? Okay, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and I have two adjourning motions today. Let me start first with Eva Elizabeth McCoy, who passed away on December 27th, 2011, in Encino at the wonderful age of 90. She was born in Harbin, China on November 21st, 1921, and lived her childhood with her loving parents and two siblings in a thriving Russian community. After receiving her Cambridge education certificate and having learned fluent English and French, she taught English in schools in Harbin, Tsingtao, and Shanghai, China. As a secretary at a U.S. military center, she met her future husband, Thomas W. McCoy, a Marine Corps serviceman. And in 1948, Elizabeth immigrated to the United States, married and started a family in Oakland, California. She obtained a bachelor's degree from San Jose State College, a California teaching credential, and a Master of Art in Russian Literature from UC Davis. Then Elizabeth moved to Southern California to be closer to her beloved family. A devoted mother, she loved spending time with her 4 children, her 9 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren. Elizabeth was an avid reader, and enjoyed discussing politics, current world events, swimming and walking regularly. She loved dogs, particularly her inseparable companion, Tasha. And she expressed tremendous compassion for others who were less fortunate, and by example encouraged her family to capture the power and strength of the human spirit to build a better world around them. Elizabeth is predeceased by her husband, Thomas W. McCoy, her parents, Leah and Jacob Krongross, her sister, Sophia Krongross, and her brother, Boris Krongross. She was survived by her daughter, Patricia Madrescu, son-in-law, Bob Madrescu, son, Thomas W. McCoy, Jr., daughter-in-law, Erlene Haas, daughter, Jackie Mota, son-in-law, Bill Mota, daughter, Lucy McCoy Basigalupo, son-in-law, Paul Basigalupo, 9 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Jacob Mota is here today on behalf of the family, and thank you, Jacob, for being here as well. We'll make sure that all members are on this. Obviously, this is a beloved member of a beloved family here in Los Angeles. We should all be so lucky to have lived as rich a life on so many places and with such incredible experiences, and to make it to the incredible age of 90. But she will be, I know, very much missed by her family and by her community. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. You have another?
Yeah, and just one other, if I may. I found out only about a week ago that a former boss of mine and a luminary, and please stop me, somebody, if we've made this adjourning motion, but one of my first bosses and a great environmentalist and lawyer was very unexpectedly, he died in November 12, 2011, after a brief illness. Roger Lane Carrick, Roger Carrick, who many of us know from political and environmental work. He was born July 28, 1951, in High Point to Virgil Paul Carrick Sr. and Ruby Marsh Carrick, and this is in North Carolina. He graduated from High Point Central High School in 1969, completed his undergraduate work at Harvard University, and graduated magna cum laude. He furthered his education by obtaining his law degree from the Bolt Law School at the University of California at Berkeley. And prior to practicing in the private sector, he worked in government and public policy, at one point serving in the administration of Governor Jerry Brown in California the first time around. He was very instrumental in a number of causes and environmental initiatives. He was the author and co-author of several books on environmental law, was very involved in passage of Prop 65, which keeps us all safe from environmental harm. And I got to know him when he was the policy director at the Kathleen Brown for Governor campaign, and he took a risk on a young man and let me do some grunt work for about 4 or 5 months, and I worked alongside Roger and learned a tremendous amount from him and my fellow coworkers. He was the chairman of the American Environmental Institute. He wrote several books on environmental law. And while serving as the California State Director of Hands Across America, he also became very involved in the organization Para los Niños in Los Angeles. In 1986, he accepted a position on the board, later serving as chairman. And with his passion for law and serving others, he later began his own private law practice as an environmental attorney. Survivors of Roger include his significant other, Melinda Baton of Los Angeles, his mother, Ruby Marsh Carrick of Greensboro, North Carolina, a brother, Paul Carrick of Charlotte, North Carolina, and 2 sisters, Jan Mendenhall and her husband, Mike, of Trinity, North Carolina, and Judith Rigsby of Fruit Cove, Florida. There was a private graveside service in November, but I know Para los Niños is going to be doing a memorial for him as well in the coming weeks, and we'll be sure to let people know when that will be. Thank you.
Any other adjourning motion? Mr. Koretz.
I just wanted to say I worked with Roger a number of years ago when I was the director of the California League of Conservation Voters, and he was very involved. And he's a good friend. We worked on other environmental projects. And I hadn't heard that he had died, so I'm kind of shocked. But he was a wonderful guy, and he'll be sorely missed by everyone that knew him.
Mr. Labange.
Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Art Rogers, who lived to be 93 years old. He was born in Los Angeles, went to Fremont High School, and picked up a camera, and in his early days sold pictures to the Los Angeles Times. Eventually he was hired by the Los Angeles Times and had a 40-year career. He had a crew cut and big, thick glasses, but he also had a great knack of being in the right place at the right time. In many of his pictures you would recognize for the annals of history of the photography of the Times. Most notable was in 1973 when USC was playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Woody Hayes shoved his camera into his face, where Woody eventually, as you know, in his career was taken out of coaching because of his physicalness on the field, which should be for players, not for coaches. But Art Rogers took that hit. In the transformation of his craft, it went from big speed graphics, big 4x5 negatives, to the modern Nikon camera or Canon camera as you see today. He survived by his son and others. He died in Morro Bay. He lived a great life. He was a great photographer from the Los Angeles Times.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Zine.
Hey, Mr. President, Francisco Javier Rodriguez Jr. passed away January 11th, 17 years old. Passed away in January 11th in Winnetka. He was known as Pancho or Panchito. As the boy realized that playing soccer was his passion, played for various teams, including Real Southern Cal Soccer Club in the West San Fernando Valley, senior at El Camino Real High School in Woodland Hills, and a soccer standout. As a goalkeeper, he had 8 shutouts in 17 games this season, and in a one-week tournament in Hawaii, from which he recently returned, kept the other teams from scoring in 3 games. At home, the last 5 games, he logged 4 shutouts, which included 4 stops in his team's tie against Taft High School just hours before his passing. His talent and efforts earned him Best Goalkeeper in the Valley recognition last year. Friends and relatives all held Francisco in high esteem, reflected on his life. They recall memories of a really good young man who many of friends said was a role model and wanted to be like him. Of his character, his coach said he was good, but what made him better was he was a leader. This, of course, is a tragic end to a promising life of a beloved 17-year-old young man, a good citizen entering the prime of his life and living his dream to be a soccer player. His family is left to heal and find peace, and our hearts felt blessing go out to his family and friends in El Camino High School. El Camino's Careers and Entertainment Academy is sponsoring a fundraiser to help raise funds for the Rodriguez family. Fundraiser will be held January 22nd at Woodland Hills Ice, 6100 Topanga Canyon Boulevard. For every person that attends, $5 from the admission price will be donated by the rink to help pay for funeral expenses. This is the tragedy that we saw on television just last few days, and information from Topanga Los Angeles Police Department homicide. The suspect is a female person of interest. They are trying to locate a female Hispanic, red or auburn hair, possibly not her natural hair color, about 5'1" to 5'2", 17 to 20 years of age, weighs about 120 pounds. The vehicle is a Ford Explorer or Expedition, either late 1990s model, early 2000 model, dark in color, either dark green or dark blue. And the police are continuing their investigation. Information would be appreciated by Topanga LAPD. Hopefully the individual who killed this young man, shot him on his front lawn, will be taken into custody. May he rest in peace. Francisco Javier Rodriguez, Jr.
Any more adjournment? Members, this meeting is adjourned.